Is your dog a barker? If you're watching this video, the chances are yes, they are. So I'm going to help you decide what type of barker your dog is. Here we go. The first one is the attention barker. This tends to be a really social dog that loves all people, not just one person in particular. These bark to get attention. Bark is usually high pitched, and then they may pause and look at you and then continue barking because they're gauging your reaction to see if they've got your attention, and it's normally very effective. Normally when they bark for attention, you will look at them, which is a reward in itself. Okay, so the next barker is the offensive barker. They will bark at anything that approaches them because they're protecting their personal space. So it might be people, it might be cars, it might be other dogs, some people in their space, and they will lunge towards anything that they see as a threat to their personal space. This bark tends to be a lower pitched bark to an attention barker, and it quite often starts with a growl. The offensive barker tends to mean what they say. So if they're growling and barking and lunging towards you, they will tend to carry out with that threat and bite if you get into their personal space. This sort of barker does tend to need a behaviourist involved because they are on the scale more likely to do aggressive territory. So you're going to need help with this type of dog, which is why it's important to work out which type of barker you've got. Now, defensive barking, so they use barking as a shield. They don't want anybody in their personal space. They don't tend to carry out with their threats, but they are using it to keep people away from them. These dogs will have a very worried stance and body language, and they tend to retreat. Their bark does tend to be sharp and high pitched because they're worried and they're concerned. This is a scared dog. Now, although this dog does not want to get into any kind of altercation, and they will retreat at any opportunity, if cornered, they will still bite. And then, believe it or not, you can get the recreational barker, and this is a dog that will just bark to amuse themselves. It tends to be monotonous, it tends to be flat, of the same type of pitch, and they'll just bark constantly, have a pause, bark again, and they're just doing it because they've got a lot of pent-up energy, and it's just basically a boredom breaker for them. Then you get the enthusiastic barker, and it's self-rewarding, so it's like a feedback loop for them. So they'll bark and then get more excited by their own bark. These tend to be very high-pitched. They'll pant between barking, and they do it when they're excitable. Then the last type of bark is separation anxiety, and this tends to be a dog that is bonded with one particular person. So they're not barking for attention like the attention-seeking bark. It doesn't matter who would give them attention. All they're barking for is that one person that they are fully bonded with and that they are basically extremely anxious to be separated from. This is quite a complicated situation because this dog is actually very anxious and doesn't like being away from their person, and that's the reason that they're barking. This type of barker can pace, drool, pant, and just show a lot of repetitive and unsettled anxious behaviour. If you're worried that your dog does have separation anxiety and you're the person it's worried about being separated from, consider having a camera indoors so you can see how it behaves when you're out, and then you'll get your answer.